Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, it's Max with Mura Tech Talk, back with another video, and we're going to talk about this phone today. This is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, this phone just dropped on February 16th. That was the official release day, and a lot of folks, and myself included, we got this phone a little bit earlier than the release date, which Samsung is notorious for doing, frankly. I mean, in years past, lots of folks got their phones a little bit earlier than the release date. It's just something that seems to happen frequently. Now, you can pick this up unlocked direct from Samsung, or you can go through one of the major carriers here in the United States: Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T. And then all the other MVNO carriers that are basically renting their wireless spectrum from the major carriers. Now, this year is a little different, primarily because Samsung changed their trade-in values this year, and not for the better. Because now this year, we're seeing a pretty significant reduction in what you get for your trade-ins, especially if you're trading in a Samsung device like the S22 Ultra. Not even close to what we were getting last year. I mean, at one point, you could get $1,000 for the S21 Ultra to trade up to the S22, and now they virtually cut it in half. You'd have to trade in a 14 Pro Max to get $720 during the pre-order period. And I was looking at that and going, okay, well, probably a sign of the times. They have to tighten their belt a little bit. Who knows, honestly, but I really just want to talk about this phone today. So what is significantly different between this and the S22 Ultra? Well, we have the 8 Gen 2, the Snapdragon processor. It's a slightly modified version in that it's a tad overclocked in the S23 series. Other significant differences that I've noticed in the few days I've had this so far: battery life has significantly improved. It's enough to where I would tell you, if you're not happy with your battery life on the S22 Ultra, consider getting this if you can swing the money for it. That being said, if battery life isn't an issue for you, I don't know that the camera upgrade is worth the generation jump, to go from the 22 to this. Maybe if you had the S21 Ultra, I could argue that, or even the Note 20 Ultra. But if you have last year's S22 Ultra, more than likely you're going to be okay until we get the S24, the 25 series. That being said, the camera on this thing now has a 200 megapixel main sensor. And then the telephoto 3x and 10x periscope, still the same. We have a 0.5x macro on this phone. And starting now at 256 gigs of base storage, with, point of contention here, an 8 gigabyte RAM module. Now, when you upgrade to the 512, you get the full 12 gigs. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they wouldn't have that weird ladder scheme on their phones where you have to upgrade to the higher storage tier to get the more RAM on the phone. But you're probably going to be okay with the 8 gigs. I just, I like to know that I'm going to have enough. Not that 8 gigs isn't enough, because that's the base for the S23 series, the 23 and the 23 Plus, but they used to include the higher RAM on on the Ultra models, and the last couple of years they started reducing some of those features unless you paid more for the higher storage tiers. It just seems like an anti-consumer thing to me, but basically to grab more money from people. But it is what it is. Now, I got the 512 gig version. You got the free upgrade if you pre-ordered, and that's what I have here. I did not buy this unlocked from Samsung because through my carrier, there was a much better incentive to get $1,000 off this phone, and I traded in a Pixel 4a to get it, and that was with AT&T. which is frankly incredible. You can go online to Gazelle or Swappa and buy the 4A if you're with AT&T, of course, and essentially pay 80 bucks for a phone to get 1,000 off this thing. Just throwing that out there. If you're with your carrier and they have those kind of incentives, even Verizon or T-Mobile, check and look at the list of phones that they'll take for those incentives, because you might be able to get away with spending under 100 bucks for a phone to get you 1,000 off the new phone. So you might be thinking, well, what other major differences are there this year? Not a whole lot. Screen's virtually the same. 1750 nits, peak brightness. Same, from what I can tell, it's the same panel as last year's S23 Ultra. Again, the biggest difference is the power efficiency, and the 5,000 milliamp hour battery is lasting a lot longer. I've been averaging 8 to 8.5 hours screen on time with this thing, and that I could not get that with the S23 Ultra. And you can reference my video when I made that a few months ago for the S23 Ultra. But it's just frankly incredible how different the 8 Gen 1 is to the 8 Gen 2, considering that the 8 Gen 1 was Samsung produced and the 8 Gen 2 is produced at the foundries from TSMC. And I don't know if there's what the process difference is, and how they produce those chips, but this is much more efficient. And it might be some under the hood optimizations too with One UI. That's also very possible. Not a computer engineer, I'm not a programmer, so I can't tell you what the exact reason is. All I can tell you is that the phone is more efficient this year. It is definitely faster. Not something you're going to notice in day-to-day use, but the efficiency is so much appreciated on this phone. Not to mention the camera prowess of this phone, excellent. People are talking about shutter lag. Any moving subject you're going to have an issue with, even on iPhone sometimes, but I have yet to miss a shot on this new phone. And the details on the pictures are excellent, and I'm going to be doing a second video with some picture samples just so you can see. But my initial impressions with this phone, they fixed a lot of my gripes with the S23 Ultra in this phone. And I wish this was the case last year, that they had the same efficiency as this, because if that was the case, I wouldn't have upgraded. I would have kept the S23 Ultra if the battery was up to par with this. But I'm glad they did fix it. There's really not much else I have to say as far as improvements on this phone. Again, that's really it. Power efficiency and the battery is significantly improved. So that's all I have to say with the initial review. This starts at $11.99 for the 512. I think it's like $100 more. Wait for it to go on sale if you didn't catch it on pre-orders, or if you're not getting those incentives with your carriers. I guarantee you this is going to go on sale like years past with Samsung phones. Check out Best Buy, look direct on Samsung.com. I guarantee these will be on sale way before we hit Black Friday this year. I'd be willing to bet on it. So that's all I got for this video. Appreciate y'all sticking with me, and I hope to see y'all in the next one. Take care.